What's up, YouTube? Hold on. Yesterday I made a video and the mic was not plugged in. I felt so stupid. I'm not gonna lie. I went to sleep right after that. Like I was already nodding off on stream if you were watching the stream. So it was like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. Hold on. We are learning about what is this? Basic basic financial concepts. Tune in. Um, what am I doing? Streaming. What is this? You're not gaming. Streaming. All right, bet. There we go. I need to ask Mayhem. I'm sitting here recording this. I'm gonna have to edit all this. Hold on. All right, I had to ask him for a beat. Anyways, I'm gonna pretend like none of that just happened, and we're gonna start from the beginning. Hey YouTube, what's going on? Right now, we're learning about basic financial concepts that everyone should understand. I know it's a lot going on in the world, and everyone's, not really sure what to do or where to go with their learning of things. So I felt the best way to learn is to do this, keep posting these videos, keep getting an understanding, not just for myself, but for everyone else. So that way, as we continue to grow, I'm 27 now, but I'll be 28 in a couple of days. I have an idea of everything and how to do it, but I feel growing up, I spent money horribly. Like I've made a lot of money, but I've also spent a lot of money too. So it's kind of backwards. So right now we're going to tap into, some basic stuff just to get ourselves right. And you guys, hope you enjoy. And of course, as always, like, subscribe, comment, and enjoy the show.
Taxes. Picture this. Imagine you just had a hard month at work, slaving away flipping burgers at your local McDonald's. You're in bed when you get an email from them. It says you've been paid $2,000, but your bank account only gets $1,456. You scroll down the stub. Federal income tax.
God, Lee, he had a $2,000 check, and how much was 1450? He lost 600 in taxes. Nah, that's insane. Nah, that's
Bank
insane.
account only gets $1,456. You scroll down the stub. Federal income tax, state tax, Social Security,
I'm not gonna lie. This is why I went exempt, because you're not taking all my money. I'm gonna need some of that back. Now that's why my tax return is out. Actually, I've made more money as I've increased, but we gonna listen first. I'm sitting here talking like I'm not teaching you anything if we talking too much. Hold on.
Medicare. This is the modern ritual of giving away a chunk of your money to invisible forces, and they expect you to say thank you. Here's the deal. Taxes are the cost of civilization. You pay, the government builds roads, funds schools, makes sure your favorite taco truck isn't infested with rats, and sends billion-dollar missiles to places you've never been. But there are different types of taxes. Income tax, which hits the money you make. Sales tax, which hits the money you spend. Capital gains tax, which hits the money your investments made while you were asleep. The government takes a little bit of every dollar. Nearly everyone also pays Social Security tax and Medicare tax. Basically, Social Security tax is like the government forcing you to save for your retirement. They force you to save money now, and you get it paid back to you over time when you retire.
Wait, that's what Social Security tax is? That's backwards. I'm not making no money that way. I'm not making any money that way, actually. I'm just being honest. So you mean to tell me I'm giving them money to give back to me? If that's the case, I might as well have my own piggy bank. See, It may be basic knowledge for us to learn, but it's still like some of this stuff is like, all right.
Medicare, however, is a health insurance tax that goes to supporting older people or people
Mm,
with serious health issues. Now comes
mm.
filing your taxes. Oh boy, the government knows how much you owe, but it makes you guess. How cool. If you're right, no worries. But if you're wrong, you're cooked. When it comes to actually paying taxes, some people pay every few months, some people pay yearly, and then there's those people that don't pay at all and end up in documentaries. I get that taxes are annoying, but it's not all bad. Countries with higher tax rates generally have a higher quality of life all round. Banks. So,
Hold on. I do need to pay my taxes. Just putting that out there. Don't go without paying your taxes. You will be like Wesley Snipes. They will come. They will come knocking at your door. So pay your taxes. Even if you, let's just say you made less money, and then you're like, oh, I'm about to get $1,000 this year. Let this give it to your taxes. Give it to your taxes, so that way you don't have to worry about it going forward. Me personally, I honestly want to start paying my taxes quarterly, so that way I don't have to worry about it. But it would require me to make more money. But if we're doing what we need to, that's not gonna be an issue.
you walk into a bank, hand the cashier your money, they count it, smile, and tell you it will be added to your account. You walk out and think, great, now it's sitting in a vault somewhere, being guarded by a dragon. But in reality, that money's already gone. Most people think of banks like a big safe with only one job, guarding people's money. But in reality, they are just a middleman or a matchmaker for financial transactions. When you deposited that $1,000, the bank took $900 of it and gave it to someone who wants to buy a jet ski. That system is called fractional reserve banking, which
What?
basically relies on the idea that they only actually need to keep a fraction of the money on hand because not everyone is going to show up at the same time asking to withdraw 100% of their account. That is, unless it's 2008, of course, when people lined up to withdraw the entirety of their account, which caused the entire system to crumble. Banks make money by lending your money at a higher interest rate than they are giving you. That's really it. You're the supply of money, and the person borrowing is the demand. The banks entice you to deposit your money because of a few reasons. It's much easier and more convenient to spend on a card or transfer than carrying around cash all the time. They are literally paying you to hold your money with them in the form of interest. It is much safer to keep your money in a bank than in a shoebox in your room. In the US, most banks are insured up to $250,000 per person, meaning no matter what, the government assures you that your money, up to 250K, is safe. Interest. Imagine you borrow.
You mean to tell me? I already knew if you gave your money to a bank, they were giving it to other people. But they're working under the premise that you're never going to take 100% of your money. That's insane work. That's insane. So they really are working like, oh, yeah, two people may come and take all their money out their account, but all, let's just say there's 1 million people at that bank, which is more than that number, but we know all 1 million people are not going to come take all their money. So we're going to give this money to this person and give this money to this person and give. That's insane. It actually sounds smarter to keep cash on hand because you're really just giving money to people so they could take care of other people at your expense. Okay.
$1,000. You have to pay back $1,280. Why? Because of interest. Interest is money's way of charging rent to exist in someone else's hands. When you borrow, interest is the price tag for using someone else's cash. When you lend or save, interest is the reward for being patient and boring. There are two main types. Simple interest is like, here's a flat fee, thanks for playing. Compound interest is, every dollar I gave you now has clones, and they also want rent. Let's say you owe 20% interest on a credit card. You miss a payment. Now your interest is earning interest. Soon, your $12 burrito turns into a $50 regret. On the flip side, investing at 7% annual compound interest, that's your money duplicating itself like a cheat code. $100 becomes $200, then $400. Then one day you wake up and you're old, rich, and a little smug about it. This is why interest is the silent engine behind both wealth and debt. In
Wait.
loans, it's the slow burn that turns small mistakes into financial fires. In
Oh.
investments, it's the time bomb that turns small gains into massive wins. So
Oh.
what's the hack? If you're paying interest, kill it fast. If you're earning interest, let it sit, feed it, and give it time.
Hold on. I think my bank account has it set up to where I earn interest on stuff. So you're telling me I want to put money in a place where I earn more interest? I'm learning right now. I'm not gonna lie. I knew this, but I didn't know this at the same time. You know what? What it says it too. It says it in here. It says Nah, that's not it. That's not it. How to how what gives me interest? What gives my money interest? Your money earns interest when you place it in a savings vehicle like a high yield savings account, a certificate of deposit, or a money market account, which pays you for lending your money to the bank. The financial institution then uses the funds, for example, by lending them to which is what we just saw. They lend it to a higher rate and pays you a portion of that income as interest. Your money can also earn interest or dividends through investments or bonds or stocks. High yield savings accounts. These offer significantly higher interest rates than huh. Highest APY savings account. Hold on. Capital One. What's Axos? Hold on. Hold on. Three account offer 3.6. Mine is offering 3.6. I need to figure out. I need to call them tomorrow. Right now it's at I need to call them tomorrow. They said I can set up direct deposit, but I didn't see it. Earn a one-time $50 or $300 welcome bonus based on your. Hold on. Unlock premium perks like 3.6 APY on savings. Yeah, that's good. So, oh, that's another thing. I don't know if he talks about it. Hold on. Hold on. Wait.
Interest is either your worst enemy or your best unpaid employee. The choice is in who's collecting it.
Inflation. Okay, I don't know if he said anything yet, but if you work at a job and you get direct deposit, a lot of times direct deposit helps because you can put like, let's just say you get, I'm gonna say a normal. I don't want to say a normal check for me because then it's gonna sound like, oh, you just saying that. No, I'm being serious. But let's just say your check is like $600, $600, and you put $400 into your savings, or that's not even realistic. Let's say your check is $800 and you put $200 in your savings. Like Buddy said, over time that can pay itself off. That actually doesn't sound too bad. And I've done it at one time, like unintentionally, like was putting money in my savings and was saving stuff up, and I came back to like $2,000 $3,000. So I'm like, it's a possibility, you know? It's a possibility. If you go 6 months of just putting money in a certain place, it'll work itself out. I need to look for the information or call this place tomorrow so I can set up my own direct deposit because I didn't even think about that. That's crazy. All right, let's go. Inflation. Inflation is next.
Inflation. Okay, so you bought a bag of chips. Open it up,
Oh, inflation
and it
is
looks
crazy.
like it's already been half
A
eaten.
half bag of
You
chips.
check what you paid, 30% higher than last time. Then you
30%.
realize you've just been hit by inflation. Inflation is what happens when money slowly gets less valuable over time. Not overnight, not with fireworks, just a slow erosion. Your $5 bill, still technically $5, but it buys less instant noodles, less gas, and doesn't actually have as much value as it did before. So what actually causes it? Sometimes people just have too much money. Everyone's got cash, and they all want
I literally have been saying this. If you keep spending money, they're going to say, well, we can raise the prices. If you can afford it, then we're just going to keep raising it because you're going to buy it again and buy it again. Oh, well, eggs are $12. Guess who's buying $12 eggs? You are. You're buying $12 eggs. And now you're mad because the eggs are $20. Stop spending the money. I'm not going to curse. This is a YouTube video. I've already said too much, you know?
to spend it on the same stuff. Let's say 2,000 people want this $500 TV, but the business only has 1,000 TVs for sale. So the
Cap.
business goes, oh, everyone wants this TV? That'll be $800 now.
And they're gonna buy
Sometimes it's
it.
supply chains with hiccups or problems, making the cost of producing a good or service more expensive, meaning the cost of that good or service must rise. Or sometimes, just cause. Expectations can cause inflation. If people think prices are rising, they'll spend more now, driving prices up faster. It's a self-fulfilling economic prophecy. A little inflation is normal, even good. 2% a year? That's fine, predictable.
That's
But if
fine.
it spikes, savings die, wages lag. The
What?
government tries to fight inflation when this occurs by raising interest rates. When the government
Huh.
raises interest rates, people are paying more interest, or it's more expensive to get a loan, meaning they have less money to spend on things like TVs.
Yes.
This causes a reduction in the amount of spending, pretty much cooling off the economy. Recessions. A recession is when the economy decreases for at least 2 quarters or 6 months in simple terms. One day you're fine, you've got a job, bills are paid, you might even be planning a trip with the family, but suddenly there's layoffs, the stock market's only going down. In a recession, jobs vanish, companies cut costs, and everyone saves their money for necessities instead of buying things they don't need. Why does a recession happen? It could be a range of things. Could be high interest rates, making borrowing too expensive. Could be a global crisis, war, pandemic, rogue container ship. Could just be the economic cycle doing what it does best. Boom, peak, bust, reset. Think of the economy as a party. In the boom phase, everyone's dancing, drinks are flowing. But eventually, the lights flicker, reality hits, someone checks their bank account, and suddenly, the DJ's playing sad lo-fi beats about corporate downsizing. Recessions aren't forever, they're resets, painful ones. Governments might lower interest rates, send out stimulus, or just hope people start buying overpriced coffee again.
Are we in a recession?
Eventually, spending returns, businesses rebuild, growth resumes, but not without scars. Credit scores. A credit score is a
Mm.
shadowy algorithm that knows your name, your past, and how many times you paid your credit card late in college. A 3-digit number that decides whether you get a house, a car, or a soul-crushing 27% interest rate on your new TV. This number isn't about wealth. It's about trust. Lenders want to know, if I give this person money, will they actually pay me back? The score has a range from 300 to 850. Below 580, you're a walking red flag. Over 750, you're sparkling with adult credibility. Most people? Stuck somewhere between 640 and 790. How is a credit score calculated? Payment history. Do you pay on time? This is the big one. Credit utilization. How much credit are you using versus how much you could? Credit age. How long you've had accounts. Credit mix. Cards, loans, mortgages. Variety helps. New credit. Too many recent applications? All of these things are the ways it is calculated. But to actually increase your score, you have to make the required payments on each of your loans before you enter the late period. If you enter the late period, your score decreases. Your credit score is like a pet dog. Ignore it, and it poops all over your life. Take care of it, and someday it might help you buy a house. It's not about being good with money. It's about looking good to lenders. You can have zero debt and still have a trash score if you don't have a credit history. So yes, the game is rigged. But if you learn the rules, you can rig it back. Currency, or money.
I definitely understand the credit thing because I had a credit card. I had two credit cards actually, really three, but third one it didn't really matter. I had two credit cards I was paying off, and they were doing well. And then, like you said, a recession happened. A recession happened, quote unquote, and they laid some people off. That messed me up. And instead of me focusing and saying, "Hey, let me pay this and do this," I fell into the trap of I'm just gonna party. I'm just gonna have fun. I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And it's like that doesn't benefit me. That doesn't work in my favor. That doesn't even that doesn't help anything, you know? That actually creates more of a problem if we're looking at it like that. So over time, I'd say you need to pay attention to what you're spending money on and where you're going with your funds. Like, do you want to spend $100 on nothing or $100 on something? And sometimes that $100 on something could actually lead you to 500 more dollars for free or 10,000 more dollars just because you took the time to say, let me take care of this versus that. And it took me so long to understand that. So I definitely get it.
The weird part about currency and or money is that it's actually not real. Humans have developed money in order to make the world better. Money makes trading easier, makes it easier to build systems and to organize society. In saying that, there is no more legitimacy between a dollar bill and a Bitcoin.
Nope.
People believe a dollar bill has more legitimacy, and maybe it does, for now, but only because people believe it does. The same can be said for a dollar bill and a stick. The only reason a dollar bill can buy something, and a stick cannot, is the fact that we as a society have agreed that a dollar bill is worth something, while a stick is not. So how does money actually work? Well, the government prints it, the central banks regulate it, and everyday people trade it in exchange for goods and/or services. The reason the banks have to regulate it is because if the government prints too much, then inflation kicks in, and everyone's money becomes monopoly money. If the banks make it so there is too little money, no one can afford to live. Currency, or money, is a social construct built on a shared belief and trust. Investing. So you know what inflation is now, and the best way to combat inflation, so your money doesn't become less valuable, is investing. Investing is what happens when your money stops sitting around and starts working for you. Instead of trading your time for money, you're trading money for more money. The problem is there is risk involved.
Super risk.
What can you actually buy? Stocks. Tiny ownership slices of companies. If the company grows, your slice becomes more valuable. Bonds. Basically, you loan money to a government or company, and they pay you back with interest. Funds. Collections of stocks and bonds so you don't have to play financial games one by one. Real estate. Property you hope someone else pays to live in. Forever. Of course, there are other things, but they are considered the main ones. Investing isn't about being lucky. It's about being early, diversified, and patient. Most wealthy people didn't win the lottery. They just gave compound growth 30 years to do its thing. And yes, investing comes with risk. Markets go up, markets go down. But the real danger isn't losing money. It's never investing and watching inflation quietly steal your future. Value. This one is more complex, but everyone should understand it. Imagine you pick up a rock. It's just a rock. Now imagine that rock is shiny and yellow. That's gold. It's rarer than an average rock, so there's a higher value placed on it. Gold is not actually worth more than the average rock. It's just worth more to humans because we place a higher value on it. Understanding this is what allows people to become rich. If you provide a lot of value, you will earn a lot of money. Steve Jobs created the iPhone you're most likely watching this on right now. He created something with a large amount of value, so millions of people gave him thousands of dollars for that bit of value. It's the same reason that doctors and lawyers earn so much money. The value they provide is large, and people are willing to pay a large amount of money for their service. Value is the same reason Gucci or Louis Vuitton can sell the same handbag as Target, but charge 100 times the price.
Interesting enough, that's why athletes get paid the way they get paid. People are like, bro just got 200 million. He just got 300 million. I'm guaranteeing you right now, he has 200 million eyes on him. Like, if they were to pay people by how many people have viewed them over a time of their life and what they can do for their city or, just area they're in and the team, if you can get 100 million eyes on us over a consistent amount of time, or if you can get, let's just say you get 100,000 people to pull up to the gym and watch you hoop for 6 months, 6 months, $100,000, somebody just pulls up. 100,000 people pull up. You're off rip going to get 100 plus. Just because now it's like, oh yeah, I see this. I see what I can do. I see that I can learn myself and, building my craft. And my legs are pretty strong too. So I'll be really good. I'll be really good.
People perceive it as more valuable, so it is. If you can figure out how to create value, even if it's not real value, you can make a lot of money. Time. Time is the most valuable asset in the world.
Oh man, hold on. Before he gets into this one, I just watched a video on how if you spend your time wisely, you won't have to worry about the financial part of it. Ooh. Because the money will spend itself for you to enjoy the time that you need to enjoy, so that way you can live the way you need to live. That in itself is a bar.
And the best part? Almost everyone starts with a lot of it. You probably have a lot of it left. But no one gets an unlimited supply. Most people work jobs where time is traded directly for money. 1 hour, 1 paycheck. Simple math. The top earners have figured out how to make their time worth millions. And the difference isn't magic. It's skills, leverage, and how well you've trained your hours to work for you. But nowhere does time work harder than in investing. There is no greater force in wealth building. Not luck, not income, time. Because wealth isn't built in days, it's built in decades. Money that sits quietly in an investment doesn't just grow, it multiplies. Slowly at first, then faster. That's why ordinary people with modest paychecks can retire with 7 figures. They didn't beat the system, they used the system. A little money, invested consistently, given enough time, becomes a lot of money.
Wait, go back, go back, go back, go back, go back.
National
Wait,
celebrity, traveling the U.S. as the Headless Wonder Chicken.
wait. Go back, go back, go back, go back, go back, go back. How do I go back? Go back,
Taxes.
go back. All right, mute that. I feel as if when it comes to certain things, we have to be ahead of ourselves. We have to be on top of it and lock in. So that is one of the things that all of that, everything he said in the video, all of those things are something you learn over time, but it's also something that it'll benefit you taking the time to learn it. Learning your taxes and learning how to invest and learning about inflation and learning about recessions and how to keep your credit score high and all those small things not only just help you as a person, but it builds character for you because now if someone comes around and you're like, don't do that. And they're like, why? Well, now you can come to them and say, hey, well, I have the experience by being a part of this or learning this and knowing what I should and shouldn't do, you know? It's small stuff like that that takes it to that next level. So I think the video did a great job on explaining it. And hey, who knows? Honestly, that could be the next big factor, not just for myself, but someone else. All right, hold on. I just messed it up. There we go. Hold on. Bet. It's because it is gray. It's that gray. I would swap the. How long is the Ethernet? I would swap everything over, but then I wouldn't have the background I have, so that'd be backwards. Good video though. Great video. Like I said, the beginning was hilarious, but I think overall the uh the greatest lesson we can learn is to take time to do all these things without and read everything we have in front of us. Read the newspaper, read the receipt, read the check stub you get so you know who FICA is and who Social Security is and why you're paying this much for Medicaid. Like you said, most of this stuff has a purpose and where it's going, but it's more so do I really want to do that? You know,